So thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore thou shalt hear the word of my mouth, and warn them from me.
Have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them.
Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Middle Tennessee and examining current events from a biblical perspective, this is Bible News Radio with your hosts, Randall and Stacy Harp.
Hello, people. All right, hey, everybody, glad that you're here with us today. Ugh, I don't know about you, but my back hurts. I already have my 10,000 steps in, just shy of that, because I played pickleball today and my right foot hurts now, just so you know. Anyway, I want to welcome you to the show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Whatever platform you're on, please feel free to share it out as God leads you to. And I promise you that this hour is going to be filled with a lot of news. I have so much news, you guys. And you know what? You are not going to hear most of this on your liberal media. And honestly, probably most Christian media aren't going to cover it either. I have news from Liberty Counsel. I just got this breaking news about a leading megachurch pastor stepping down. Founder of a big church in Chicago. Yeah. Remember the place Obama lives? Or he used to, anyway. I don't know if he still lives there or not. The good news is Obama doesn't live in the White House anymore. Which, by the way, that actually is upsetting a whole bunch of people. People who don't like Trump or the Bible studies going on there. We're going to talk about that too, people, just so you know. All right, so thank you for tuning into the show. I want to, of course, thank my husband, Bareface Harp, for producing the show.
It's not my real name.
It's not his real name.
You know, I played pickleball this morning too.
You did?
Yeah, I did.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't tell me that.
Yes, I did.
You did?
Not explicitly, but I told you about the visitor from South Carolina and there to play pickleball and no one was there, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, you played with her?
Yes.
Oh, it was just you and her?
Yes.
Did you win?
No, we just hitting around.
So you really didn't play pickleball?
I guess not.
Technically, that's not playing pickleball. It's just hitting the ball back and forth.
Technically, it's not, but she was practicing her serve and stuff like that. She was just looking all around for everybody, and it was weird that no one was there yet. And so I said, hey, I didn't bring my paddle, but,
that's
you know, if you...
sitting here on the couch.
But if you want to warm up for a little bit, do that. So, anyway.
All right.
So, yeah, for probably a good 10 minutes.
Good.
Or more.
Well, starting next month, in just a few short days, Tuesday night, we get all 6 courts, which rocks.
Yep.
It's going to be fun.
Indeed.
It will be so fun. Ouch. But yeah, actually, my right foot is bugging me. So I went and I bought these new court shoes, but they're too big, so I had to send them back. So I'm still playing in shoes that I can twist and fall on. By the way, I actually did fall the other day, but fortunately I didn't hurt myself. I was a skilled faller. Yeah, it was. Joel, yes, we're married. It's very clear we're married.
Yes, it takes skill to fall well.
Yeah.
Unless you are born one.
Yeah. All right. So let's say hi to some people coming in.
That's my birth to at least be a fall well. But
okay, let's see here. I'm going to go over to Facebook first and share this out just in case anybody decides to tune in. It's funny because the people on Facebook that tune in, I actually know the people on Facebook usually. So if you are on Facebook, please go ahead and say hi. That way I can say hi back. And if you're watching the replay on Facebook, you can still do that too. All right, over on Periscope, I see our normal Perry peeps are in the house. Tracy, thank you so much for coming on in. By the way, thank you also for your donation this month. I got it today. Just want to let you know. Melanie, thank you for coming in. And Joel Schultz, nice to see you, buddy. Haven't seen you in a while. Dottie, thank you for coming in. By the way, Dottie and Melanie, thank you guys for hanging out on Bullhorn. I just updated it right before I came on here. Mark of South Jersey is here. Simone is here. Pastor Lind is here. Plasma. Is that really your name? I don't know. Sorry if it is. And Periscope World Traveler is here. And there's a couple other people. And if you happen to be watching on YouTube, rather, hi on YouTube. I know some of you are doing that. So, it's funny because there's some people who are watching us clandestinely, secretly. They don't want me to know that they're tuned in. Question is why? What have you got to hide? Are you and Mark Zuckerberg in cahoots? No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, that was bad. Sorry, my bad. Okay, anyway, so don't forget to go over to BibleNewsRadio.com, sign up for my email. In there, I try to provide something for you every day. I don't know what, you guys should actually tell me what you want me to put in there. That would help too. But today we got a whole hour packed. So I'm just going to jump here to the top story, which is Pastor Bill Hybels has stepped down from his church, from Willow Creek, following numerous allegations of sexual misconduct. Okay. And Thomas, hey, Thomas, nice to see you too. Just saw you come in. Okay. So this is a big deal. All right. Because first of all, Bill Hybels is one of the ones, he's one of the biggest mega churches in the country, probably the world. He is the guy who headed up the seeker-sensitive movement, which he actually many years later admitted was a big, huge mistake, which I wholeheartedly concur with. He basically found out that by trying to make the church appeal to the unbelievers, that basically you've dumbed down the church, you've dumbed down Bible discipleship, and basically made the church a whorehouse. And I don't mean to be so blunt, but it is. Okay? The church isn't for unbelievers. If you go to a place to worship, it's not for unbelievers. So any church that's trying to cater to the unbeliever, just saying.
Yeah, it's an unbiblical concept.
It's not biblical at all. I know.
Right.
Drives me crazy. And I say stuff because I'm almost 50 and I can do that. Okay, anyway.
Evangelism isn't about making the congregation, the house of worship, attractive to unbelievers. It's about going out to the world, sharing the gospel, and then as people believe, disciple them in the house of worship.
Right. Anyway, let me just read you some of the article over on the Chicago Tribune, which was just published this morning, April 11th. Okay. 42 years, I'm 49 point whatever. So this is a long time, people. 42 years after founding one of the nation's most influential evangelical megachurches, the Reverend Bill Hybels told his congregation Tuesday night, that was last night, that he would step down from the helm of Willow Creek Community Church 6 months ahead of schedule. His departure comes less than a month after a Chicago Tribune investigation disclosed that Hybels had been the subject of inquiries by church leaders into claims that he ran afoul of church teachings by engaging in inappropriate behavior with women in his congregation, including employees, allegedly spanning decades. The inquiries had cleared Hybels. At times, choking back tears, Hybels told this somber crowd at a hastily called meeting at the church's main campus in South Barrington that while he continued to enjoy support from within his congregation, the controversy was proving to be a distraction from the church's mission and work. Referring to his wife, he said, "It's been extremely painful for Lynn and I to see this controversy continue to be a distraction." Well, gee, how about you don't engage in stuff and, and then there won't be any controversy. Anyway.
Well, to be fair, the article says, allegations.
Okay, still.
An investigation. And what did it say? That he'd been cleared? The inquiries have been cleared?
Yeah, but anyway, he also announced that he would not lead the church's Global Leadership Summit, an annual event featuring leaders from business, government, entertainment, and churches, hosted by the Willow Creek Association, a nonprofit dedicated to leadership development, where Hybels had planned to focus his energy after retirement. While saying he believes he has been cleared of all the accusations, he apologized to the church for how he handled himself. He said he regretted that he reacted in anger when the accusations were made public. "I apologize to you, my church, for a response that was defensive instead of one that invited conversation and learning," he said. Hybels had previously called the allegations against him flat-out lies. He also had said that the multi-layer effort by former senior leaders of the church to push for an independent investigation was nothing but collusion. Okay. On Tuesday, he said he intended to reflect on what has happened and how he reacted. I feel the need to look deep inside myself and determine what God wants me to do through all of this, Hybels said. Or what? No. What? Okay. Determine what God wants to teach me through all of this. I have complete peace about this decision, and I'm not going to rush this process. Your prayers would be much appreciated during this upcoming season of reflection. Hybels also said that while the accusations against him have been misleading and some entirely false, he apologized for making choices that put him in situations that could be misconstrued. And that was basically my point there. I too often place myself in situations that would have been far wiser to avoid, he said, adding, I was naive about the dynamics those situations created. I commit to never putting myself into similar situations again. He has said since May 2012 that he would step down in October of this year. Willow Creek, which hosts more than 25,000 worshipers a weekend at its main campus in South Barrington and 7 satellite sites, made history in evangelical churches last October by naming a woman to succeed Hybels as lead pastor. So, yeah, how many of you knew that? I didn't know that. Heather Larson, the executive pastor, will take over as chief executive of the Megachurch, while Steve Carter will become the lead teaching pastor effective Tuesday. This is going to take time for all of us to process, Larson said. This is not the end of the story. It's not the end of Bill's story. It's not the end of Willow's story. And it's certainly not the end of God's story. And I'm just going to go ahead and not read the rest because it will just take too long. But I have tweeted the story out, so if you go to my Bible News Radio account, you can read the rest. The point here is that it's sad. It is. It's just sad. And it's sad on so many fronts. Number one, it's sad that accusations have been made, because if there are false allegations, then the people who made them are liars, right? Number two, if there is any inkling of truth, which Bill kind of goes, well, I put myself in a situation that could come up. Well, then that again shows you that there's still a little issue. And it's just, none of us are perfect. Only Jesus is perfect, by the way. And, there are people out there who want church pastors to fall, right? So, I think what Bill has done is honorable. But ultimately, in the end, God ultimately knows the truth. And what I will say is I guarantee you 100% there will be a book written about it in the coming months. Mark my words, because this is how Christian media works. And if you think most churches today aren't involved in Christian media at that level, then let me give you an education. Because Bill Hybels' church, one of the biggest churches in the country, all you need is to sell 5,000 copies of a book to have it be a bestseller. Somebody will ghostwrite his book for him. They'll put it out. They'll pass it out to his congregation at a low price or free, and then it will go viral. That's guerrilla marketing. That's exactly what happened with Rick Warren and the Purpose Driven Life book. And I could list a whole bunch of others. Same thing. The church business is about marketing. And that is part of the problem, people. Because the money gets in the way, and in some cases, the sex gets in the way. So, I hate to be the bearer of good news, or bad news. Actually, good news. No, bad news. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I like to be the bearer of good news. So, it's just, it is what it is.
Yeah, to use this as a spiritual lesson, I think so, 1 Thessalonians 5:22 tells us to...
Markava, no, it's not. I can see it. They're asking if it's frozen over there.
Anyway, 1 Thessalonians 5:22 tells us to abstain from all appearance of evil. Some translations say all forms of evil, but I think looking at the Greek eidos, it talks about an appearance by sight. It refers to sight. So I think I err on the side of caution. Abstain from all appearance of evil, whether it's evil or not. If it can be misconstrued, one ought to stay away from it. I'm surprised that a pastor of 42 years, not a Christian of 42 years, says 42 years ago he founded, he started the fellowship. So, it's kind of sad that someone of so many years would not be familiar with that principle of keeping yourself out of situations that can be misconstrued as misconduct.
And yet, who was the guy in the Bible who asked for wisdom?
Solomon.
And did he always act very wise?
No. And and his mistake was when he put politics over relationship, politics over his relationship with God. God granted him wisdom and material blessings as well, is not a problem. But as soon as he started making political alliances by marrying women from other nations, it doesn't matter they were made nations, they were not godly women. And you see what happens then, all the things that way back when, in the law of Moses, God said not to do, that if there was going to be, a king later on, they shouldn't multiply themselves gold nor horses, etc. He did all of that, and he did not finish well. But
yeah. Anyway, I bring that up. I just bring up Solomon, who God, gave the opportunity to ask him anything, and he asked for wisdom. And if Solomon, who God gave wisdom to, didn't really end well, then Bill Hybels isn't Solomon by any stretch, and let alone anybody else. It is hard being in the public.
Point.
It's
Definitely.
It's hard being in the public eye. You know what? This is what I think. I don't think God ever intended his servants to be in the public eye.
I agree.
I just
not
don't.
in that way, not as any kind of celebrity.
Yeah, and I don't think that Christian media is a business. And Christian churches that get wrapped up in the Christian media, it's a business. Except in our case. Well, technically we're a business, but we're not profitable at all, just so you know. If you read my email earlier this week, then you already know that. But anyway, so let me tell you a couple of the other stories we have. But I see Kat came in. Hey, Kat. Nice to see you. That's Mama. That's my mama. My spiritual mama. That's her. She's in the house. And let's see here. We got anybody else that comes in. Thomas is here. Did I already say hi to you? I think I did, but I did. If I didn't, hi. And I saw Kelly came in too. A friend of mine who plays pickleball. Okay, I'm going to tell you some of the other headlines, and then we're going to go cut through some of these stories. Okay, so how many of you remember I was talking to you about the California, how they're trying to make it illegal to help gay people who want help, right? Okay. So over on LifeSite News, the title is California Shocking You Must Stay Gay Bill. You must stay gay. And this is exactly why I didn't get licensed on purpose. Because I saw this coming down the pike. Listen to this. In a brazen assault, by the way, this is Michael Brown. Dr. Michael Brown wrote this. In a brazen assault on our most fundamental freedoms, California legislators are considering a bill that would make it, illegal. I just ate my dinner. For anyone to receive professional help to resolve unwanted same-sex attraction or gender confusion. This would apply to people of all ages, people of all religious and moral convictions. It's an absolute outrage, and it must be opposed vigorously. For the last few years, a growing number of states and cities have embraced legislation making it illegal for minors struggling with unwanted same-sex attraction or gender confusion to receive professional help, even with the full support of their parents. This would apply to a 14-year-old girl who was raped by her uncle at the age of 8 and now feels repulsion from men and attraction toward women. If her parents stood with her and she wanted to meet with a trained counselor to get to the root of her attractions, in some states that would be illegal. No professional counselor or therapist or psychologist would be allowed to help her. Yet in these same states, listen to this, if an 8-year-old girl believed she was really a boy and wanted to receive professional help to deny her female identity, that would be perfectly legal. A counselor could tell her parents to encourage her to dress and identify as a boy. That counselor could also recommend that at the age of 10, she start taking hormone blockers, then prepare to transition fully to male at age 16, then have sex change surgery at 18 with hormones prescribed for life. Okay, this is twisted, people. That would be perfectly legal, but for the same 8-year-old girl to say, I want to be at home in the body God gave me, I don't want hormones and surgery, can anyone help me? The answer would be no, such help is illegal. California wants to take this one dangerous step further, making it illegal for anyone of any age to receive such help. Don't miss it. This defies all logic and can be seen only for what it is, a frontal assault on our freedom to self-determination, a frontal assault on our freedom of religion, and a frontal assault on our freedom of conscience. Make no mistake about this, as ADF, that's Alliance Defense Fund attorney, Matt Sharp explained on the Line of Fire broadcast, this legislation will extend into churches. They've been coming after the churches in a long time, but these people are very, the activist community, they're very patient. For example, let's say your church has the policy of offering free pastoral counseling for all tithing members. That means a financial transaction is involved in those services. So you, a member in good standing, want to receive some much needed counseling. You're a married father of 4, but you struggle deeply with gender identity confusion. You set up an appointment with one of the pastors only to be told it's illegal for us to help you. Michael Brown says, I am not exaggerating. And he isn't exaggerating. If you guys know, I mean, first of all, if you've listened to this show for any length of time, you already know. But anyway, it says here, if you're reading the Bible, which strictly forbids homosexual relationships, and you want help with unwanted same-sex attractions, you even read where the Bible says some people used to practice homosexuality, but through the gospel, they no longer do. See 1 Corinthians 6, 9 through 11. You try to set up that counseling appointment with your pastor only to be told it is illegal for us to help you. The pastor couldn't even recommend a book on the subject from the church bookstore. That's how far this outrageous bill goes, and it's only one of a series of bills being put forward in California. If the bill is passed there, other states will be eager to follow suit, and that's basically what they're trying to do here. Let me give you a little quick law lesson here. So basically what happens is that the LGBT lobby and their lawyers write these bills that are outrageous. And they try to make them as outrageous as possible, right? They target an area that it will pass. And then after that, what happens is other states follow precedent, because when things go to court, it'll be on the books. And those lawyers go, well, in California, they did this, blah, blah, blah. So they cite that, and the next judge says, oh, okay, boom, stamp of approval. Free, religious freedom is gone. Michael Brown goes on to say, what makes this even more outrageous is, number one, there are thousands of ex-gays who can personally testify to their own transformation. 2, there are gay and lesbian psychologists who argue against the myth that homosexuality is innate and immutable, thereby admitting that you can change. And 3, most children who identify as transgender no longer do so after puberty. And remember, while California seeks to pass this monstrous legislation, it has no problem backing a psychologist who will help a man embrace his alleged male and female identities simultaneously, or a counselor who will help someone embrace his alleged animal or alien identity. All of that's fine, but to help someone be at home in his own body would be illegal. Okay? The whole basis of the legislation is, number one, is the claim that, number one, medical fraud is being practiced, and 2, harm can be done to patients who undergo such counseling or therapy. Think about that. Okay? Think about it. So basically what these guys are saying is, you know what? If somebody has same-sex attraction, or they're confused in their identity, and they go to a church and try to get help, and they say, hey, we can help you, then that actually is medical fraud. And yet, they will go ahead and give hormone treatment to children without parental consent and say that's perfectly fine, and they don't call that medical fraud.
Yeah, just if I can just remote, to say that it's, irreparable harm to get someone or to help someone be at peace in their natural body, their biological physical body, be comfortable with their male or femaleness, then that's like irreparable psychological harm. But if we do extreme cosmetic surgery on their bodies and pump them full of hormones the rest of their life, they have to stay on these to have some semblance of stability that's perfectly fine. That's great. But having someone without drugs, without hormones, without any kind of surgery, be comfortable in their own skin, that's dangerous. Can't have that.
Yeah, well, but there's that thing, as California goes, so goes the nation. I mean, it's true. Anyway, let me finish the article. It says here, but there are plenty of patients who attest to the life-transforming impact of the counseling they have received, and there are plenty of Christians who attest to the life-transforming power of the gospel, including transformation from homosexual and transgender identities. It's also a fact that there is no definitive proof that such counseling harms a patient any more than some patients claim harm after undergoing counseling for substance abuse or overeating or depression. And Ann Polk, who is an ex-lesbian herself, said positive counseling outcomes for people dealing with unwanted same-sex attractions are higher than positive outcomes for those dealing with alcoholism. Yet no one in his right mind would seek to ban professional counseling for therapy or therapy for alcoholics, right? So anyway, that's pretty much the article. I've already shared this before, but my prediction is, and I could be wrong, and I hope I am wrong, but my prediction is it's going to pass. And the reason I say that is because pretty much everything wicked in legislature does pass in California. It won't matter the outcry of the public. I'm going to guess it's going to pass. And in fact, Stephen Black, who is a former homosexual, last night he posted on his Facebook page that he had a dream that there were a gazillion wildfires all over California. And that it was going to be way worse this year than next year. And some people believe that, dreams like that can be indicative of the spiritual climate of people, if you believe that. I do believe God talks through his people. And if you don't think that is, let's look at the GuideStar brief one. This next story kind of sort of actually ties into this just slightly, and I think you'll understand why once I read it. So this is from Liberty Counsel, which is, as you know, a legal it's a legal firm that defends people of faith and others. Listen to this. Liberty Counsel filed a brief at the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit arguing that GuideStar, okay, GuideStar is a place here. Okay, GuideStar, you guys probably heard about this. This is a place, I'm trying to think of the right, it's a financial, like, accountability type website that you can go to. That GuideStar's false and defamatory hate group label it placed on Liberty Counsel's profile comes within the federal law known as the Lanham Act, and that's Lanham. Okay, that's somebody's name, apparently. Liberty Counsel sued GuideStar under the Lanham Act, which prohibits making false and misleading characterizations of a group's goods or services. The district court dismissed the complaint, holding that GuideStar's profile of Liberty Counsel didn't violate the Lanham Act because it didn't represent commercial speech. That ruling was based on an incorrect view of the law and the allegations pled in the suit. When GuideStar placed the hate group label on Liberty Counsel and more than 40 other nonprofit organizations, the same page solicited financial payments to enhance GuideStar membership. Moreover, GuideStar intended to cause financial harm to Liberty Counsel and the other nonprofit groups. Liberty Counsel argues that because GuideStar included a commercial advertisement and promotion for its paid subscription services on Liberty Counsel's profile, and because it admitted that its entire motivation for adopting the Southern Poverty Law Center's false and defamatory hate group label was economic, the district court was incorrect in finding that such speech was not commercial. Okay, so listen to this. The Southern Poverty Law Center started out as a legitimate group that actually gave a rip about true discrimination. But since then, they have gone so far leftist Marxist, it's unreal. I mean, they say that... they say that Focus on the Family, Concerned Women for America, Family Research Council, Liberty Counsel, probably Bible News Radio if I was big enough to be known, are all hate groups because we are pro-Christian, we're pro-Bible, we're pro, what the Bible says. And so, anyway, so this is very interesting. In 2017, GuideStar began including a red banner headline along with SPLC's logo on 46 nonprofit profiles, including Liberty Counsel, stating that Liberty Counsel had been designated a hate group by the SPLC. GuideStar has admitted that it did no independent research on how the SPLC arrives at its faults and defamatory designations. GuideStar also admitted that it was aware of the political bias of the SPLC and the significant criticisms of the SPLC label. Nevertheless, GuideStar adopted the false and defamatory hate group designation and began indicating it on its profile of Liberty Counsel. GuideStar unlawfully used the false and harmful hate group label to cause financial harm while promoting its own commercial interests, said Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel. Under the Lanham Act, GuideStar cannot make false and misleading characterizations of a group's goods or services. GuideStar knows or should have known that this is false. That this false label has resulted in financial harm. GuideStar must be held responsible for its actions. Okay? So why did I bring that up? Because again, remember I talked about the whole topic of law side not too long ago? Ironically, GuideStar goes after a legal firm. Okay? As well as other nonprofit organizations which are Christian and conservative by nature. Using the Southern Poverty Law Center's definition of hate, when I have to tell you, it used to be years ago that the FBI considered the Southern Poverty Law Center a legitimate source to go to. The FBI no longer considers the Southern Poverty Law Center a legitimate place to go to. So, just so you know, that's happening. And if you can be labeled a hate group by an actual real hate group, I mean, seriously, what can that do? I mean, if you go to GuideStar and you're like, hey, I wonder where I should give money to. Let's look. And the next thing you see is a banner that says hate group. Would you want to give to that organization? No, of course not. But if you, and the worst part is if you didn't know the history behind the people and how that even came about, you would be like, well, that's really weird. GuideStar has all these hate groups on their thing that they have on here. These people pay to be promoted by them. It's not good. It's not cool. You have any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, just this idea, this terminology, hate group. What is hate group? How many groups define themselves by what they hate? Whatever nonprofit, whatever social advocacy, I don't care if it's on the left or on this right, it's in the center, whatever. We at the ASPCA hate animal abusers. We're out there to kill and hate and destroy, and they're out there to promote the lives of animals, for the welfare of animals. What group actually out there is identified by what they hate?
The SPLC is.
Well,
because they hate anybody that doesn't agree with them.
Right, but even they themselves don't say, we are a hate group, because we're all about what we hate. So what does the label even mean, hate group? I mean, that's not something that identifies a group themselves. That's something that someone else identifies them as. That comes from outside.
Yeah, but you know how many people believe these people?
I know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. What if it was
this arbitrary hate group? They disagree with something I agree with, therefore they're hateful.
And that's how it works, though.
I know that's how it works. You disagree with me, that's tantamount to murder.
You're a hater and a bigot and a homophobe.
You just cause some teenager to commit suicide because you disagree with me.
That's pretty powerful.
That's the way the rhetoric goes.
Well, it is. Soul Force, people like that.
I know.
They go ahead, they brainwash people.
I know, and they believe it.
Yeah. Okay, let's do this one more before we take our break. Okay, so another story from Liberty Counsel. Abortion center has no license. Okay, pay attention to this one. So in Fort Lauderdale, there's a women's center, also known as an abortion facility, in South Florida, continues to operate despite the fact that its license was terminated by Florida's Agency for Healthcare Administration, effective March 27th. Broward Right to Life, which maintains a daily presence at the abortion center, reported to AHCA that the facility has performed at least 34 abortions since the license was revoked. Florida abortionist James Scott Pendergraft IV, the owner of Fort Lauderdale's Women's Center, had his license to operate a medical facility revoked as a result of his drug convictions last year. This resulted from his arrest during a traffic stop in 2015 in Spartanburg, in which he was caught conducting an illegal abortion business out of his vehicle and in possession of illegal drugs. Pendergraft pled guilty to 10 drug counts, including possession of a controlled substance, possession of marijuana, possession or distribution of prescription drugs without a prescription, and manufacturing or possession of Schedule 1 and 2 substances. According to Florida law, criminal arrests are disqualifying acts, meaning that even an arrest without a conviction disqualifies the person from employment that requires licensure. Under Pendergraft's arrest on October 5th, 2015, Sheriff Chuck Wright stated in a press conference, "We got a guy and a girl early in the week that was a traveling abortionist. He traveled around the state of South Carolina without a medical license, with drugs and with medical tools, performing in-home abortions." So basically, we got an illegal baby killer. So basically, we have an illegal baby killer. Pendergraft was sentenced on each charge for varying amounts of jail time up to 5 years, but those sentences were suspended for time served. He was placed on 5 years probation and fined a total of $26,342.25, it looks like. Pendergraft was not charged with illegal abortions or practicing medicine without a license, even though he has never held a medical license in South Carolina. And then May 5th, 2017, the Florida Department of Health revoked the facility licenses of 4 abortion facilities owned by Pendergraft. Those facilities are Epoch Clinic, LLC in Orlando, Fort Lauderdale Women's Center, LLC in Fort Lauderdale, Orlando Women's Center, LLC in Orlando, and Ocala Women's Center, LLC. The Epoch, I don't know if I'm saying that right, by the way, and the Ocala Women's Center have since closed. The Orlando Women's Center's name has been changed to Center of Orlando for Women, and the license transferred to Denise Williams, the mother of 2 of Pendergraft's children. The irony of it all. He has children of his own. He appealed the action and lost, with the administrative action affirmed March 6, 2018, and then the mandate from the 5th District Appeals Court issued March 26, 2018. Pendergraft's abortion clinics have a notorious history. For example, April 2nd, 2005, 9/11 emergency received a frantic call from a woman claiming her friend had given birth to a live baby at Pendergraft's Epoch Clinic in Orlando. When the mother alerted medical staff that her 22-week-old baby was born alive, the staff refused to help her. The young mother held the child and the amniotic sac in her hands as she called a friend at a nearby hotel who had traveled with her to Orlando from out of state. An ambulance was dispatched, but the clinic workers assured the EMTs that it was a hysterical woman, and that they had everything under control. The EMTs then left without entering the clinic. Photos showed a perfectly formed baby boy who died from premature birth, confirming part of the mother's story. Liberty Counsel represented baby Rowan's mother. Photographs of baby Rowan posted on the Liberty Counsel website were taken by Matt Staver at the morgue. I'm not going to even look at those because it's too heartbreaking for me to look at that. It is absurd that the Fort Lauderdale Women's Center is continuing to harm innocent babies and women without a license. Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel, we call upon the state attorney general and the local law enforcement to stop Pendergraft's unlicensed abortion center. So, and then I read another article Liberty Counsel put out, but I didn't give it to you, that basically talks about how in Indiana, right? In Indiana, they recently passed a law, but it doesn't apply to abortions. But the law basically says that anybody who performs an abortion or kills a child, that they can be prosecuted as a result. So I might have to talk about that later. But I mean, it is completely.
If this is true, I don't know
It's
how.
completely insane.
I don't know how an abortion clinic gets a pass on non-licensure. We were talking before the show. If a restaurant was selling alcohol without a license, it'd start with a fine, and if they continued to, that place would be shut down. The health department would come and they'd put a chain and a padlock on the doors of that restaurant.
But he was a mobile one too, though.
Yeah, mobile one too. But there's apparently four facilities operating without a license. I mean, well, if you sell alcohol without a license, that's serious business. Oh, you perform medical procedures without a medical license? We can let that slide for a while until your appeal goes through or whatever. I just don't get it. Where are the priorities in this county or this state that... I don't care what the medical procedure is. I don't care if it's abortion or otherwise. If you're practicing medicine without a license, you have not just a person, but a facility practicing medical procedures without a license. How do they go on every day without being shut down in a heartbeat? I wonder if it's, because it's abortion, that's kind of like the sacred cow. We don't want to come off as being, anti-abortion or anti-choice.
I am totally anti-abortion.
I know, but the politics, the people in charge, they don't want to be perceived as being anti-choice. That's my guess is why these places aren't shut down in minutes.
Hi, Marlene.
I could be wrong, but
on Periscope. And hi, Suzanne O'Neill. Nice to see you. I hope you're still watching. I don't know if you are or not, but if you are, yeah. So. And Dorothy, hey, did I say hi to you before? Thank you for all the hearts, by the way. Thank you for that. So, yeah. Yeah, I know. Okay, well, there's even more interesting news, but we got to thank... first of all, I want to give you an update about Model Balston. Remember Model, who is our Messianic Bible teacher? He sent me an email today because I emailed him yesterday to find out how he was doing. He is still recovering from his leg injury that took place in Israel. And so just keep praying for him because he still has to keep it elevated. He's been on a couple of courses of antibiotics. He really hurt his leg quite badly. So just keep Model in prayer. Please do that. I really appreciate that. Also, what else was I going to tell you? Oh, yeah. Hey, you know what? Can I be more depressing? Oh, yeah. Can you put up the thing for Ikena? Do you have that one?
Yeah, if you give me a moment to do that.
Well, while Randall's looking for that, I also just want to say thanks to all of our pillars of the community. Those of you who donate to us, thank you for that. We appreciate it. So if you want to support our show, if you can, $5 here, $20 there, $5,000 here, $7,000 to help us pay off our taxes. Whatever you can. It's appreciated. Anyway, you can go over to BibleNewsRadio.com/give and sign up to do that. Also, just let me know when you're ready.
Well, let me put these things up. Let me get in sync with you here.
Okay. Should I wait?
Well, no, let me catch up. There's that. There's the pillars, and there's that one. All right, there's the URL for that. And now let's cut back to you. There you go.
Here I am. Okay, anyway. What do you want to do now?
Well, I want to find this image that I know you sent it to me, and I saved it here.
Oh, you did?
In the folder, or at least it was supposed to come here, but it's not showing up for some reason. So. Oh. Anyway.
Well, you don't have to put the image up. We can just talk about it.
Of course I do.
Okay. All right. The other thing, while Randall is looking, just want to remind you to join our email list at BibleNewsRadio.com. And I also want to let you know, I have not forgotten about the Unstuck Club. I know some of you have been going, what's going on with the Unstuck Club? You guys, you could still join the Unstuck Club, the free Unstuck Club. I am working on one. And I'm also working on, if you would like to be part of my beta testing group for a project I'm working on having to do with a Bible journal that I'm putting together, then message me. Because I think that this is going to be fun, actually. I'm It's a dream I have. So just tweet me at Bible News Radio, or however you want to get in touch with me. You can just contact me and let me know, because I am going to be creating a journal that you can use, or anybody else could use if they want, that will help, will be compatible for the show and your quiet time. Because I think it would be cool to have a Bible News Radio journal. I don't know if you do, but I do. Anyway, and I'm just waiting for Randall.
Well, I'm just, whatever you want to talk about, I'll put up a corresponding image.
Okay, you got Ikina's yet?
Yeah, I've got that. So
okay, so let's. Okay, so Ikina, Dr. Ikina
say
Finch.
What you want, and I'll follow along.
Okay, so Ikina is having a conference this September here in Nashville, and she has invited me to come and be on a panel. She actually invited me to actually speak, to be a speaker, but I was like, I don't really want to be a speaker, not yet. In part because it's called the Social Power Summit. And even though I consider myself an expert in social media, it's not my main topic. So she said, well, do you want to be a panelist instead? And I said, yeah, I'll be a panelist. That'll be cool. So this is a Social Media Live and in Living Color. It's going to be held September 14th and 15th in Nashville, Tennessee. Gives you plenty of time if you want to come in from out of state and learn about social media. She's going to have B. Smith, who's going to be there. She's going to be there. And she's going to be announcing the other speakers later. But I will be on a panel, and my panel will actually be on Saturday. Bareface is actually going to be there as well.
I'll be walking around with a video.
He's going to be doing the media there.
And
so you can learn more at socialpowersummit.com if you ever want to meet me in person and you haven't had the chance yet. So she's putting it together. I'm really proud of her. I think this is going to be her very first social media conference that she's doing. So if you want to come to Nashville, that would be a good place to start. And then, of course, don't forget we have Ariel Ministries, which helps underwrite our show by sponsoring our show. And we are telling everybody about the Maps book of Israel, the Maps book of Israel. And if you go over to ariel.org, you can learn more about that, and also use the coupon code and Bible News, and you can save 20% on that if you are interested in that. And don't forget, you can also save 20% on anything in the store, and also you can go ahead and learn more at our BibleNewsRadio.com site. If you go to the resources page, there's other stuff there. Also, hey Beth, good morning to you, my friend. Anyway, good morning, and nice to see you, Beth, over there in Australia, the land down under. And don't forget, if you're in America, you can also download the Bullhorn mobile app. And follow our daily updates on that as well. I'm doing a question of the day, a kindness act of the day, and then Bible News Radio update. So go to BibleNewsRadio.com. All right, BibleNewsRadio.com. Okay. All right, I got 3 other stories, and let's see if we can go ahead and get them done here in the next couple minutes. So Newsweek is talking about the White House. And Newsweek is left-leaning, media. Okay. So today they published an article titled White House Bible Study Led by Pastor Who is Anti-Gay, Anti-Women, and Anti-Catholic.
I'm sure he is.
Do you want to play the video on that one? Is that possible? I don't think there's a commercial on it.
Have you watched it?
I have, actually.
Okay, well, it probably could.
Yeah, because it's all about Donald Trump. Oh, wait, no, never mind. Oh, wait, no, there is an ad. Really? There was an ad when I played it. Okay, just forget it then. Oh, no.
Is that the video?
Is that that one? Or am I thinking of the other one? No, it was that one. Oh, yeah, never mind. Maybe okay. If it has Donald Trump in it, that's the one I want. But if it doesn't...
it does.
Okay, then go ahead and play that. Because I think it's interesting.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, talk for a moment. Stall.
I am stalling people. Yeah, I am. Okay, if you came in late, you want to know who the pastor was we were talking about who stepped down? It was Pastor Bill Hybels of Willow Creek Church. Very famous church. And that's me looking at my Fitbit, people. I didn't realize I was still on. Good thing I didn't pick my nose or anything, huh? And wasn't it funny the other day when I threw the pickleball at the camera and ended the show? Yeah, just so you know, I thought it was fun.
It was fun.
Okay, you let me know when you're ready. By the way,
I'm
Bareface.
just struggling with technology, just so you know.
Okay, then don't worry about it. It's okay.
No, I'm almost there.
Oh, you are? Okay, go ahead then.
Yeah.
Hey, mister. How you doing, Bubba?
I try to perfect this. It's got to be perfect, you know. All right, we'll go with that.
Okay, go ahead and play it.
All right. I'll need all of these, and one of these is bound to be the one.
The gay community, and who's better for women than Donald Trump? Believe me. I will do everything in my power to protect our LGBTQ citizens.
You support marriage equality?
It's irrelevant because it was already settled. It's law. It was settled in the Supreme Court. I'm fine with that.
So if Caitlyn Jenner were to walk into Trump Tower and want to use the bathroom, you would be fine with her using any bathroom she chooses?
That is correct.
Protests breaking out overnight at the White House just hours after President Trump revokes President Obama's transgender guidelines.
President Donald Trump says transgender people cannot serve in any capacity in the military.
Who's better for the gay community, and who's better for women than Donald Trump? Believe me.
Is that it? I think that's it, right?
That was it, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the thing is, the reason why that's important is because this is a video that's inside Newsweek's website on the topic of White House Bible study led by a pastor who is anti-gay, anti-women, and anti-Catholic. Okay, listen to this. The first Bible study group held for the U.S. cabinet in at least 100 years is led by a pastor who believes homosexuality is illegitimate, who doesn't believe women should preach, and has described Catholicism as a false religion. 10 members of the cabinet, including Vice President Mike Pence, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and Education Secretary Betsy DeVos, sponsor the study group, which holds meetings lasting between 1 hour and 90 minutes every Wednesday, according to BBC News. It unfolds at a location in Washington, D.C. that is kept secret for security reasons. Listen, that's very important to understand. The Bible study is kept secret for security reasons because Bible study is very dangerous, people. Yeah, it is. Anyway, its leader, Ralph Drollinger, who, by the way, I don't know much about, and I'm sure he's being mischaracterized by this Newsweek article, just so you know. A pastor and president of Capital Ministries, an organization which aims to evangelize elected officials and lead them toward maturity in Christ. The 63-year-old former pro basketball player from California founded Capital Ministries with his wife in 1996 to offer prayer groups, Bible study meetings, and private ministry to politicians. It now operates in 43 state capitals, to the chagrin of the devil, and over 20 locations outside of America, just so you know. The outspoken pastor has sparked controversy for his views on women, same-sex relationships, and Catholicism, arguing that women and men have, quote, different roles, unquote. He claimed in the BBC News interview, quote, there is a prohibition of female leadership in marriage and female leadership in the church, and those who are clear in Scripture, it doesn't mean in an egalitarian sense that a woman is of lesser importance, unquote. And earlier this year, in a Bible study session released on the Capital Ministries website, he said, quote, homosexuality and same-sex ceremonies are illegitimate in God's eyes. His word is repetitive, how do you say that? Perspicuous. Perspicuous.
Yes.
Clearly expressed and stayed on the subject. Wow, I learned a word today. Thank you. Thank you, people. Those comments come after he wrote in a Bible study address to the U.S. Capitol in 2013. Not only is homosexuality and same-sex marriage voided by God in his word, but biology as well castigates homosexuality and same-sex marriage. The ultimate outcome is the discontinuation of the species since homosexuals cannot procreate. For sure, one cannot be a homosexual and an evolutionist at the same time. Those are fighting words, man. In 2004, Drollinger was criticized for declaring Catholicism is one of the primary false religions of the world. As a result, progressive campaigners have objected to Drollinger's regular meetings with high-ranking U.S. politicians and fear the influence he could have on their political outlook. Asked whether he tells his students how to vote, Drollinger told BBC News he will put the blueprint on the engineer's seat on the train, which will show the right tracks to the station. But I'm not going to tell you what tracks to take. But you've got to be pretty stupid not to follow the blueprint because it's there, he said. In a statement, the LGBT advocacy nonprofit, the Human Rights Campaign, called Drollinger an extremist. People look to their faith as the source of guidance and inspiration, and LGBTQ people and our family and friends are no different, the group said. Drollinger's influence and involvement in the current administration is not only driving a wedge between faith communities and the LGBT community, but it is turning back the clock on progress with the spread of even more divisive rhetoric throughout the highest ranks of government. Jessica Stern, the executive director of LGBT advocacy nonprofit Outright Action International, told Newsweek, "Make no mistake, this is no mere study group. This organization has targeted American government officials, so it has by definition sought to blur the line between church and state." Their anti-women and anti-LGBTIQ views matter because the highest levels of American government are listening to them. Members of the president's cabinet must immediately withdraw their sponsorship of this organization. The White House and Capitol Ministries did not respond to a request for comment. Probably because they knew they would be inaccurately represented. Yeah, because Newsweek, really. So what do you think of that, huh?
You talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you.
You talking to me?
I'm talking to you.
Well, again,
I look at this, I think it's funny.
It's just, again, it's this myth of moral neutrality that somehow, well, because these people are, in an undisclosed location in U.S. government, that it's bad influence, and they're gonna influence lawmakers to do, see things their way. Whereas if our people were in the pro-LGBT, there's no such thing as unwanted same-sex attraction. If you have that, you can't be counseled.
What about the Satanism and the necromancy and the other spirit contacting by previous presidents and first ladies?
Exactly. Well, that
from
was
the Democratic Party.
Yeah, those things aren't gonna influence the politicians. Nah. They're just there because
witchcraft, contacting the dead spirits of Eleanor Roosevelt and others.
Yeah, I mean, they were there just because that's what those politicians wanted.
That's super cool.
Yeah, make no mistake, these Capitol Ministry peoples have barged their way in. They forced their way in. They're cramming this stuff down the politicians' throats, and they're there to institute a theocracy. And they're making the politicians, I'm sure that's the way the logic goes. That the necromancy and and all that stuff, and all the the child traffic thing, Pizzagate, and all that kind of stuff. Well, that's because what they wanted. They weren't influencing the politicians. That's what the politicians wanted. No big deal. They're just expressing themselves. But this Capitol Ministries thing, this has to be an amalgamation of church and state. Nobody wants them there, not even the politicians. They're unwelcome. So we need to.
Well, they're definitely threatened. And, and I would say this. I don't agree with if what they're saying that he said is accurate. I don't agree with everything that the guy says. But what I can say is that I give him credit, Ralph Drollinger, I give him credit for actually doing a ministry to go out, to disciple people, to share the gospel with people, to actually have people open a Bible and read it and actually obey it and do what it says.
Especially if they're invited there. I don't think I don't think you can break down the doors to the White House or you can, but you'll quickly find yourself in jail.
It's not like they have guns being held to their head because they want to confiscate all guns away from people.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that they're by invitation. So
yeah, they are. So Beth says, fear the influence of Christianity on the nation. The entire nation was founded on religious liberty. Dissenters and rebels who felt so strongly about their faith, they founded a new colony and nation. Exactly. They left England, the Puritans and all those guys did, so that they could have religious freedom because the government was oppressing them. And make no mistake, America's on her way out. Okay, I know that doesn't sound really uplifting or anything, and maybe I am a prophet of doom. But to recap, number one, when you see church leadership beginning to fall because of David's getting attributed to that comment.
Yeah.
When you see church leadership who used to be, well respected fall because of allegations, whatever they are, and then you see the marketing of evil in various ways, and you see things like I just shared with Liberty Counsel being vilified by an actual hate group, being called a hate group for monetary gain, and abortion clinics who lose their licenses still able to kill babies, and all this other stuff. Don't tell me this is a Christian nation, people, anymore. I mean, we were founded on it, but I'm just going to say we're a pretty heathen nation at this point. We are the #1 exporter of smut across the whole world, and we're proud of it, aren't we? And the sad part is, and I'm going to say this, and you might not like me after I say it, but I don't mean to be mean or sound mean, but if you're one of these people that engages in pornography and you are letting your eye gate get all this crap from the liberal media and the TV shows and the homosexual agenda pierced into your heart and your mind and your soul, then you're part of the problem, because God calls his people to be holy, and that means to be set apart. Now, does that mean we're going to walk in perfection? No, because none of us are ever going to do that. But I was reading this morning in Luke chapter 6, and I read a verse that was really impactful. I know, don't hate me, Randall. And I'm going to read it. Okay, I got to open up my email first because it's the easiest way I can find it. Because I want to read it because it really hit me. And I didn't record the whole thing on my thing here. But if you got my email, you already heard this. So in Luke chapter 6, verse 35, this is the words of Jesus, okay? He says, "But love your enemies and do good and lend, expecting nothing in return. And your reward will be great, and you will be the sons of the Most High, for he himself is kind to ungrateful and evil men." Okay, so here's what stood out to me. The whole verse, I read all of Luke 6, but this was the verse that really stood out. And the reason it stood out to me was because it said, "For he himself is kind to ungrateful and evil men." Okay? If anybody in the history of the world could choose to be unkind to ungrateful and evil men, that would be Jesus. Just so you know. But the Lord is so good that he is kind to ungrateful and evil men. And he tells us if we're going to be like him, then we're to love our enemies, do good to the enemies, lend to them, and expect nothing in return, and our reward will be great. And here's the thing, though. How do we do it? I'll tell you how. It's by walking by the Spirit. That's how. In Galatians, it tells us to walk by the Spirit, and we won't fulfill the desires of the flesh. The liberal media and all the garbage that people tune into and all this other stuff that talks about this and that and all the evil destruction, the promotion of sin everywhere, left and right, center, that impacts you. If you're not convicted, I'm just going to say this and don't be mad at me, but if you're not convicted when you watch evil because you like it, then your heart has already been hardened against that sin. And that is part of the problem. Okay? Homosexuality, the Bible says, is an abomination. Murdering babies is murder. Murdering other people is murder. Thou shalt not murder is in the top 10 commandments. Okay? So I'm just saying, if you're like, oh, I'm on the fence, or oh, I think this might be okay, then guess what? Your heart has been hardened and you're not walking holy and separated the way God has called you to be, and you're part of the problem. And I believe that's part of the reason why the church is so ineffective in many, many ways. And so when you have people like Ralph Drollinger and others come out and they're actually trying to nurture our governmental leaders in God's word, then bless them, because they're actually doing something that most people aren't doing. Just so you know. I'm done now. Just so you know. Our show is over. So we have more interviews from NRB that we're going to play, but you know, I do want to encourage you to examine yourself. I mean, hey, I do it every day, and I'm so not perfect. Most of you know that if you watch me. But I try. I have a conviction. I think it's going to pass. I think that bill will pass in California. And it's coming to, I mean, persecution is coming to America. It's already here, but it's coming through the back door, so to speak. And when it really hits full on, you're going to have to make a choice. And it's going to be a real choice. It's not going to be a fake choice. It's going to be a real choice. Are you going to really follow the Lord, or are you going to go to jail for what you believe? Or you're going to die for what you believe? It's coming. Don't think it's not, because it will be here sooner than you think. So that's why I always end every show by saying, be bold, stand up, and go with God, because he loves you. And if you don't remember anything from this show, remember that. Okay? All right. We'll see you tomorrow.